Alrighty. Well, time to do this again. Only now we've got a demon deck. Yeah. This deck is a big work in progress. I've been working on my angel deck for about a year now. This one I've only worked on for about 3 months. Yeah. Definitely need to spend some time working on it some more. Anyways, we'll start off going through the land cards again. 7 mountains. This is also a 70 card deck, and just as vintage as the other one. There goes my phone. 6 swamp cards. Alright, and now some of these lands aren't going to make any sense, but whatever. I just threw in what I could. We've got a Dreadship Reef, which will provide you with some of the island and swamp mana you need for very little of the cards I have in this deck. There are very few cards in this deck that use islands, but it's, you know, just in case, and it can still provide you with a swamp for most of the demon cards in this deck. Ancient Amphitheater. You do not use plains in this deck at all, but it was a substitute for a mountain because I ran low on mountains at the time of making this deck. 4 Creeping Tar Pits. They make up for swamps and islands, and at the same time they give you creatures to summon which are unblockable and 3/2s. You have Esper Panorama for swamps and islands and a colorless mana. Yeah, Naya Panorama, which is just for the colorless mana. Another filler card I had. Jund Panorama for your basic swamp cards, you know, and then also colorless mana. Then you have Vivid Creek. Yeah, Vivid Creek. Gotta love it. Island, and then doubles for anything else. Vivid Marsh. Swamp. Doubles for anything else for 2 counters. 2 Throne Quarries for any mana that you need. Smoldering Spires. Great, because it stops your... it makes it so an entire creature can't block, and you also get a mountain. Yeah, this deck is mainly mountains and swamps, but it does have some cards that require islands. 2 Teetering Peaks. You know, nice quick cards to get out for mountain mana. At the same time, they give your creatures +2/+0, and then an Ebon Stronghold. 1 for 2 reasons. 1, because it's a swamp, and 2, because you can sacrifice it and get 2 swamps in a very tight situation. So there are your land cards. There's always 30 land cards, 40 other cards in any 70 card deck I make. Next we have Instants. Wow, these are way out of whack. I have Breath of Malfagor. Nice demonic card, 5 damage to each opponent. And then this awesome pair, Shriveling Rot, which you can choose one. You can either until the end of the turn, whenever a creature is dealt damage, destroy it, or until the end of the turn, whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, that creature's controller loses life equal to its toughness. It costs 4 to play, 3 to entwine it, so 7 altogether to use its full abilities. Then, if you double it with Wail of the Nim, which costs 3 to play and 1 to entwine it, so altogether you need 11 mana for this combo, but you can regenerate each creature you control and deal 1 damage to each creature in play, and each player. So you'll take 1 damage, your opponent will take 1 damage, every creature will take 1 damage, then all your creatures get regenerated, so none of your creatures take any damage, and then Shriveling Rot will take care of every other creature that on the field that wasn't regenerated, aka all of your opponent's creatures, and then your opponent will lose life equal to all those creatures that have died, equal to all their toughness. It's basically a hard hitter later on in the game, especially since you need 11 to use the actual strategy. Alright, so let's see. I'll skip those for now. Might as well keep going in some kind of order. Alrighty. we've got the sorceries. We run 2 Diabolic Tutors in case you need specific cards. Torrent of Souls, so that way you can pull a creature card from your graveyard and at the same time give them +2/+0 and haste if you want to, depending on the creature. Black Sun Zenith to help clear the field, and also stock Carnifex Demon in case your opponent somehow manages to get rid of -1/-1 counters. They'll come into play later. Then you have Slave of Bolas. Awesome. Take control of one of your opponent's creatures. It gains haste. You can attack with it, and then you sacrifice the creature at the end of the turn. And it costs 5 mana, so it's a pretty awesome card to have. Enchantments. We have Spiteful Shadows. Awesome card. Whenever enchanted creature is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to its controller. Then you have Reign of Gore, which makes it so then if a spell or ability would cause its controller to gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Mark of the Oni. It only costs 3 to play, and it's a mind control that requires you to have a demon on the field, which this is a demon deck, so it definitely fits. Curse of Wizardry to deal damage to your opponents, hopefully just your opponents though. Then we have Curse of Stalked Prey. Boost your creature's strength. Curse of Thirst, which deals damage to your opponents for all the curses you stick on them. And Curse of Misfortunes. So basically Curse of Thirst can deal 3 damage each turn. Still a pretty heavy hit for your opponent. Then you've got your artifacts, and you have Scroll of Gristlebrand, you know, just to counteract the Scroll of Avacyn in the Angel deck. Run 2 Elixir of Immortalities to restock your deck and make you gain life if you don't have Reign of Gore on the field. Isolation Cell, kind of stall your opponents for a little bit. Elbrus the Binding Blade. Love this, because it costs a shit ton to play, but then if you deal damage, you get Withengar Unbound, that nice 13/13 flip creature, who is a demon. So he fits in perfectly with that deck. And then Unscythe, Killer of Kings, the card you need an island for, because this card is a fucking beast. Yeah. Cool creature gets +3/+3 and has first strike. Awesome to start out with. And then whenever a creature dealt damage by a creature this turn is put into a graveyard, you may remove that card from the game, and if you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into play. Stock your field and kill your opponent's creatures. Gotta love it when you can do that. Now on to the final stretch. The creatures. You have 2 Reassembling Skeletons for both sacrificing and just, you know, having cards to defend with. Then you run 3 Scalding Devils. Easy to play. They fit the whole demonic devil demon feel, and they can deal damage to your opponents. Then you've got Soul Cage Fiend, a nice small demon to bring out into the field, and also, you know, each player loses 3 life if it dies. Bloodthirsty Ogre. Awesome card because you can put a devotion counter on him, and then if you have a demon on the field, you can tap him and have him give -X/-X until the end of the turn to a target creature where X is the number of devotion counters on him. Then you have Hound of Gristlebrand, which, you know, double strike, undying. That's really badass right there. 2 Demon Lord of Ashmouths, which is why you need your Reassembling Skeletons, because when you play them, it's nice to have creatures you can sacrifice that you can easily just bring back. Hell Rider, a new card that I've added to this deck. I love it. Gotta love it. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it deals 1 damage to defending players. So no matter what, you're dealing 1 damage for every time you attack with a creature. Then we start getting up into the higher costs. We have a Halo Hunter, which is basically in here because, you know, he's a decent creature to have, and if you're facing an angel deck, he gets to kill an angel right when he comes in. Malfagor. Whoa, screen went dark. Okay, Malfagor. You know, flying when he enters the battlefield, discard your hand, and each opponent sacrifices a creature for each card discarded this way. He's an awesome card to have. Rakdos the Defiler. Whenever he attacks, sacrifice half the non-demon permanents you control rounded up. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices half the non-demon permanents he or she controls rounded up. He's flying trample 7/6, so it's kind of hard not to deal damage with him. But, you know, in a demon deck, there's always going to be a backlash to having really strong demon cards. It's really hard to find demon cards that don't have a downside to them. Carnifex Demon. Run 2 of them. Why? Because it's fun when you constantly bounce -1/-1 counters back and forth between the 2 of them and start eliminating your opponent's field by just dropping -1/-1 counters on all of their creatures. Alright, and then the final card in this deck, Bristlebrand. Nice card. 7/7 flying lifelink. So you're gonna gain 7 life every time you attack with this guy. And then you can pay 7 life to draw 7 cards. Which means all that life you just gained from attacking with him, you can chunk, and then get another 7 cards in your hand. Which is really helpful, in all honesty. So that's my demon deck. That one, if anyone wants to message me and tell me what I should add, take out, you know, all that junk, feel free, because this needs a lot of work. Anyways, if you want to know the price it would be to try and get a deck like this together, once again, message me and let me know. I'll be sure to tell you. You can also, I think it's called Demonic Domain on my Brain Burst. Well, once you find my username, which is Epic High 5, you can see all the public decks that I put up. Which, you know, I've got a lot of the new Ravnica set, because I adore the Ravnica cards. Always have. Take a look at them. Let me know what you think. And any suggestions will be taken into account. Also, feel free to contact me if there's any cards you want that I'd be willing to give up and trade. Feel free to talk with me. We could probably work something out. And otherwise, check out the rest of the channel, Epic High 5 Studios. There'll be me, Brian, and my counterpart, Dylan. Hope you all enjoy the rest of our videos. I'll be posting up duels and a bunch of other junk. Feel free to share our videos if you want. You don't have to, but share, like, comment, berate us. It doesn't matter. Feel free to do whatever you want. Peace out, people.